Hey everyone, let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating philosophical framework that connects the creation of physical beauty to energy distribution, societal selection, and the deeper hidden mechanics of marriage. If you've ever wondered why some of the most gifted, exceptional people in our society seem to face the greatest personal hurdles, you are absolutely going to want to hear this. So why does society's obsession with beauty so often lead to tragic lives and broken marriages? It's a heavy question, right? We're exploring a concept rooted deeply in traditional Eastern thought, which is often referred to as the bad luck of beautiful women. But as we decode the source material today, we're going to see that this isn't just about bad luck at all. It's actually about a highly specific set of cosmic and societal rules, and why a lack of inner cultivation can turn a natural gift into a profound source of suffering. All right, moving to section 1, the energy law of beauty. Before we can even talk about human relationships, we need to start at the macro level to see the hidden cosmic cost of creating a physically or intellectually exceptional person. This source material gives us this incredibly provocative quote: "To produce a beautiful person, the energy of the people must be brought in." It argues that beauty isn't just some random win in the genetic lottery. No way. The philosophy asserts that creating a truly beautiful person is a massive, deliberate concentration of societal energy. Think of it like crafting a highly detailed luxury watch or painting a masterpiece. It doesn't just happen by accident. It takes an immense amount of resources and absolute focus to produce something that stands out that drastically from the norm. And that brings us to the energy distribution principle. Here's the deal. Nature, according to this framework, operates on a very strict budget to pool enough energy to create one truly exceptional individual. Whether they are physically stunning or intensely brilliant, nature actually has to slightly diminish the energy of many others to pull it off. It's a literal transfer of cosmic resources. So, if you're born with these traits, you are essentially carrying the borrowed energy of the masses. It completely reframes privilege, doesn't it? It's not a free gift, it's more like a cosmic debt. Section 2, Four Beauties and Societal Selection. Now let's zoom in a bit and see how these highly concentrated energies actually navigate human society, and specifically, how they get scouted by powerful elites. The source outlines what's basically a human auction system, categorizing beautiful people by how much kiki, which is a traditional term for natural flair or showmanship, they need to use to get noticed. Step 1 beauties? They're so innately gifted that prominent elite families pinpoint and select them while they're literally still growing up at home. Step 2 beauties step out into everyday society and are almost instantly scooped up. But steps 3 and 4, they've got the baseline traits, but lack that direct upper crust connection. So they really have to lean into their flair, entertaining, acting, actively putting themselves in the spotlight, to finally get noticed by a prominent figure, like a wealthy business leader. Which leads us to section 3, superficial talks and emerging conflict. The really crucial point here is what happens after that selection is made, which brings us directly to the trap of superficial unions. Let's look at this stark contrast the source emphasizes. When a leader brings someone into a powerful household, they don't just want a movie star to look at. They ultimately need a true life partner. In early marriage, sure, superficial talk works perfectly fine. You share basic backgrounds, focus on looks, and it feels easy. But a purely surface-level connection, that's going to fracture fast when the deeper, more complex demands of later marriage kick in, demanding real intellectual connection and inner substance. Just look at this timeline. Human relationships are relentlessly progressive. Day 1 is entirely about fun and superficial discovery. At 1 year, basic communication and shared routines will still get you by. But by year 2, you are naturally seeking way more depth. And by year 10, if that inner substance is missing, major inner conflict erupts. The source points out that if the exceptional person hasn't actively cultivated their inner depth to match their outer beauty, the elite partner essentially hits a brick wall, realizing the depth they need to run their life just isn't there. Section 4, True Purpose of Life and Marriage. So how does all this build into the macro-level rules of what life and partnership are actually supposed to accomplish? Well, this specific breakdown right here totally shatters the old school idea that marriage is solely about having kids and basic survival. According to the source, procreation and basic activity only account for 30% of our purpose. Another 30% goes to grander cosmic duties, like protecting nature or following universal laws. That leaves a massive 40% dedicated purely to fulfilling your own unique personal role in this world alongside your partner. You just can't tackle that 40% on physical attraction alone, you know? It requires real work. Now, onto Section 5, the 3-7 rule of operation. To hit that 40% personal rule we just talked about, this philosophy introduces a very specific operational rule. Check out this distribution. The source outlines that simply gathering force or power, whether that's wealth, status, or raw energy, is actually only 30% of the equation. The really difficult task? That's the delicate, wise operation of that power, which takes up the remaining 70%. Honestly, having all the power in the world is fundamentally useless and even dangerous if you have absolutely no idea how to properly wield it. Rooted in traditional yin and yang concepts, the source describes a strict division of labor here. It posits that a man's role is built to push forward and aggressively gather that 30% raw societal power. But here's the catch. Without the woman's role of providing that 70% wise management and detailed operation, that gathered force simply cannot function properly. It's kind of like buying a super expensive, high-performance sports car, but having absolutely no idea how to drive it on a track. And that brings us to a really stark reality. Power without wise operation leads to ruin and societal stagnation. If you just blindly push that gathered power forward without the 70% operational wisdom to carefully manage it, it actually acts as a destructive force. The philosophy points to this exact imbalance as the reason why prominent families fall apart, high-profile relationships end in disaster, and even society at large stagnates. Raw power without wise operation is literally a recipe for disaster. So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Think back to that exceptional individual formed by the borrowed energy of the masses. If they're brought into a powerful position but fail to cultivate the inner depth needed to provide that 70% operational wisdom, what happens to the power gathered? It turns chaotic. When a gift of immense cosmic energy isn't matched by the wisdom to operate it, that resulting friction might just be the exact mechanical reason behind the tragic outcomes we see so often. According to this framework, it's not a curse, it's simply a failure to operate an incredible gift. So, how are you operating yours?